I realized that no February 14th introduction would be complete without some acknowledgement of Valentine's Day. But what Valentine could I give Summer? Summer, I decided the best I could give you is a glimpse into your future. And we all know that a person's future can be divined most accurately through a game of MASH. Yes. Okay. So I asked Summer for a list of women, cars, careers, and cities, and did a little magic and discovered his future. So, Summer, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. You will live in a mansion. You will marry a woman named Gamble Blusenkamp. You will drive a Honda Life Dunk. These were amongst the choices that Summer gave me. You will work as a roustabout, and you will live in Bangkok, or as you informed me. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. And Summer said he used to know how to, but doesn't anymore. This is the name.
The true name of Bangkok.
Yes.
Oh my God.
You can look
It's
at
just
it.
like a really long
Could
name.
you just say it out loud?
Yeah.
No.
Please.
He said he forgot it. But, on a more serious note, for someone whose passions include vintage pens, typewriters, and classical music, Summer produces poems whose language and imagery feel almost like something from the future. To read or hear one of Summer's poems is to glimpse everyday life, and in particular the narratives of human interaction through a funhouse mirror. You know how you're accustomed to seeing the thing. You see something like the old reality, but the angles are all distorted. And through these distortions, the most mundane details become extraordinary. So I'm pleased to introduce a guy whose poems, how do they say it? Pack a punch. Summer here.
Thanks, Amy.
What are you wearing, Summer? Are you wearing lipstick?
What? No.
Are you supposed to be a cupcake?
Show.
See this?
Oh.
I'm not taking off the coat,
Aw.
but you know, I'm pink.
Cupcake.
I'm pink this evening. Yeah, this is the frosting. So it's sweet. It's sweet. I'm glad to see you guys here. You could be spending this evening doing something else. Hopefully with someone dear to you, but I see you like me better, which I'm happy about. Well, since it is Valentine's Day, it is this wonderful 14th, I'm going to start with a Valentine's poem, and this is for all of you. It's called The 14th of Everywhere, a Valentine's Day special. Dear occupant, if you have received this letter in the midst of being beloved or otherwise, you've won big. Please read on for full details. If you enter tonight, you may cause light to pucker in the window, but only if you pay full price for sunroof optics. Don't be alarmed. The pain is not in your eyes, but somewhere altogether stormier and better knotted. Many will enter. Few will have enough local anesthetic to claim the prize. We wish you everything you've concealed. You have nothing to lose, only the tape measure, the 5-leaf clover of your open, bad hand, we know where it's been, or the extra pair of inflatable shoes you keep in your pants pockets and use to escape on water like an honest-to-goodness Messiah. We know you, human. We have something we know you'll love, or your money doesn't mean a thing in the world. Do you remember the time you crossed a dark river on what you thought was the back of a horse? We wish to inform you that it was only a bale of gauze, and that your viewer ratings skyrocketed the whole time you sweated into your own reflection. You can smile all you want in the last of the daylight, the last turn of the cement mixer, before the pearls settle in its throat. You may have your last doubts. We will wait. All we're here to say is that you've been missing out all this time on the secret those lumpy folks who share a wide, underlit bridge strung from above don't want you to know. But you'll have to enter tonight before your fingers turn blue, then black, then useless to your heart's own blood. We promise a parasol in your every cocktail. We promise a helicopter ride. We offer you only one warning, whose purpose is strictly legal. We urge you, as winner, to keep your eyes to the magnificent horizon. See it there? The dull, dotted line of ascent. Never look down at the sea, the curved glass hum of it, the sureness that you can see faces calculated in its square, faces true to your every blue, red, and yellow genital wish. As winner, this you must do if you want to fly. We will take you up. Just swallow your memories down through your lightning feet. The surge beneath you is not part of the tour. You will have it, the joy of floating, that is. Slight discomfort may present. Consult your doctor first. Effects guaranteed, but not yet tested in humans. All right. Since I didn't get punched that time, I'm going to continue. This is a poem called Fire Circle. Groundswell makes me curse at the asphalt walk tonight, my rake dents. A fall fire smears through the neighborhood, still ground crawling. Second or third in the west, our team turns to tinder. Hardly a science myself, I select each button for my long winter coat from the eyes of reddening oaks, a mad wheel growing. The range of all my steps stack-worthy. What justice does work do a smile? I'm at this the way I'm good at marking time, the fall fire stringing a channel in the night, the edges waxing crooked. If it were not equine, it were donkey butt, in fact, ass of ass in my stew. And we should only be redundant with our sleep. I walked then just the neighborhood. I poured gaps into my memory to make it bigger. That night, between fires, it wasn't even cold yet. But fire is the good of the night. I won't lie beneath a lit ceiling, since among the circle of us depends a fire. This fallen flame can't remember the sun and escape. All right. A friend of mine has brain cancer, and a fairly young guy in his 30s. And he used to do a whole lot of stuff. He managed a music shop. He played music, was really active, and he recounted this incident, a stroke he had because of his tumor. And he said when he woke up, he couldn't remember how to speak. Right? He could remember words, he could write words, but he couldn't speak. So the doctor asked him, "Do you remember your name?" He couldn't say it. And that to him that fear was just immeasurable. But also he couldn't remember how to play music. He said he was a guitar player. He said he put a guitar in my hand, I couldn't play a scale. I wouldn't know what it was. And he's recovered. He learned how to speak again and all that, but he still can't play music. And this got me thinking. A few musicians have fallen under this. I mean, this guy wasn't a professional or anything, but a few really great players have, had strokes, had tumors, and had this part of their life taken away from them. And so this is a three-part poem. It covers my friend, and it covers the great guitar player Pat Martino and the great French horn player Herman Baumann. All right, part one. Pat Martino. Cutting around the bundle of worms, they also removed the disappointment, the criticism, the dilemmas that made life so difficult. They removed the bridge of the guitar. Woke up with fingers that weren't tipped with deep nerves anymore. Remember something round, stirring, an eye hooked like a wheel, hooded like a wheel, sorry. Never knew talking was so easy, so full of colors like a towel spread in sand. showed up with a guitar, useless as a word, and it was very pretty. Began learning the strings again, D chord, shaped somehow like an old smile. Scale, only a cold tickle in the knuckles. Looking at the fret markers, there was something vaguely solar about the dots, a dapple halfway up the neck. This kid, my grandson, could sure play. He made it look insurmountable. The kid somehow showed me the way to point a pick. Everything came tangled in a wobbling up and down of 8 notes. Then this morning, I was by myself and suddenly no longer alone. The smell of a roof burning, the silence and the skipped nerves found shape as the shadow of the music fell over my body as if I had just noticed the sun at the top of the mountain. Part 2, Sid Sharma. If you showed me a saxophone and told me to play a D scale, I couldn't. I sold my horn to pay for the chemo anyway. You know, I forgot who I was for about a week. My name and my languages. I was thirsty, is what I remember, and they fed me water with a spoon. They left the TV going all the time. I didn't have any recollection that there were people in the world or that they had minds. The doctor asked me, "Sid, do you know where you are?" I couldn't find anything in my mouth to answer him. The only sensations that were clear to me were the sleeping fear of falling and the thirst, the fear on my chest like the stain of high water. Eventually, they brought me some kind of pad and a pencil. I wrote out asking why I was in the hospital. The handwriting looked like an elementary school kid's. They called a friend of mine in South Carolina who grew up with me in India. Funny, he used to be my bully, but he got smaller as we got older. The doctor said he had to speak to me only in our mother tongue. In time, long brain time, the centers pulled in and I could speak again. If you showed me a saxophone, though, I could tell you that I studied with Don Cinta. I could tell you that I practiced Charlie Parker. But in my hands, I would see it only as water on sleeping skin, and I would be more thirsty than I've ever been. Each shallow key cup falling around my head like rain that I had no orifice to catch. 3. Hermann Baumann. You know, they found him in his hotel room the day after he played the Strauss Horn Concerto. They sucked the blood and his blockaded self through a long tube after most of the grid went dark. He woke up without any of the chisel marks in his cheeks, without memory of his wife, without the high German he used to tell us, in which he used to tell us that the horn is like yoga, and that it is the focus of the self. His wife sat alone, and he had the idea to hand him the horn. She had the idea to hand him the horn. He nestled his fingers in the tangle, and the music came back solid, like Mozart's. The high Fs. The music edged full-bellied along the wreckage of its old road, unwary. His lips, melted now, all the way down to their iron skeleton, braced his eyes shut. The first thing he played, the first thing his island mouth could articulate, was the Mozart Horn Quartet. The other winds bleeding, clear and pale in the tilted beret of his mind. In 2 months, he was back teaching lessons. I went into his office and said, "Hi, Professor Baumann, it's me, Margaret." He just looked out at me, not like I was me so much as I was the swept edge of a cliff. He had learned caveman English, enough to say, "What you play?" And I said, "Greer." And he said, "What Greer?" I unpacked my horn and played the first arpeggio to him. His face unmasked. He smiled and said, "Greer," and he raised his horn like a cup and drank the piece all the way for me, showing me how it pulsed against him, how dangerous and wild the soft parts were. I could see his vibrato on the walls, and his sound, though still as round as a glass of golden Pilsner, had nonetheless changed. It was like the top of his head was open now, and the last of his body was rising through it, just like his old self, but more so, becoming a smell, the ultimate memory. right, since it is Valentine's Day, it's time for a bit of bad love. You know, one of my favorite pieces of subject matter. It's always easy to be angry, you know. Loving people is hard. Being angry is way easier. So, this is a poem called Show Trial. I used one Crayola finger to scrimshaw your eye, the closed good one, as best I could. I was working in the mirror, so I might have drawn it backwards. This created a whole hornload of problems. I blew them out between my lips, wet with condensation, so I could look at them one by one. It was the sun and its trash truck crash that pulled the stadium around the corner in its ghoul's brick. Your hand was on my thigh, covering up a stain in my pants. There are legal issues associated with all this. I don't want to be sentenced to a life with a forehead that's hot as a hand. Your Austro-Hungarian name makes you happy, finally, because I can pronounce it in the original, and you cannot. I did try to define and speak you. Yes, I did. Like a salivation. I couldn't stick you in the dictionary, only on a plate. But then I couldn't find my lips and get anywhere. Tried to stick you several uncomfortable places, which I now wonder about. You never really held a kiss up for me to the light, did you? Candy machine mouth is an infliction. Sometimes I want a D5, and you gave me the sticky nougat instead. There was no return button, just a shaky weight hooked, precarious in its silver coil. Your kitchen was white. Your floors, your couch, your skin, great camouflage. I picked you off the wall by your eyes, which were always fixed on something just above my shoulder. For all the contact I had with your teeth, all I remember is that I thought they were frosting until it was too late. In the end, we were three people, you and me, as you began to neighbor yourself. I even tried to excavate what was left behind the walls, but I couldn't find a loose crack. I walked through all our places, the historical mission, the small of a switchback. In front of our favorite sandwich shop, I almost took by the shoulders and shook a man wearing the same hat, my same steeply graded, curved shoes. All right. How about another music poem? This is called Under the Double Eagle. If anyone is a folk or country music fan, this might be a well-known tune. It's actually an Austrian imperial march from the 19th century, which for some reason American folk musicians began to play on stringed instruments. Who knows why? But this is Under the Double Eagle. Steam-locked rain sits on the highway, Kentucky at evening. Trucks mingle past in the flat dust. Truck number 2, after truck 1000, stops, pushing a high smell of cow shit. The man says, "You, Sonny, can you play Under the Double Eagle on that there guitar?" I start to pick, stare up at him as if he were an ashen saint. I lie, using Norman Blake's fingers as well as I can. Bow out quiet wind, brass, and percussion through that open-mouthed box. "That's good," he says. "I'll get you to Louisville. Don't need to pay me for no gas." He swings the rosewood-colored passenger door open, and I'm keen to the almost trumpet sound of hinges. All right. Now, I would like to read a poem which Cat Parr in the front row here may punch me for. So you guys sitting in the vicinity could please be ready. This will be exciting. Now, I assure you, this poem makes perfect sense to me. It's called Coming Always Soon. All right, and I have to show you this because there's an arrow at the beginning of it. I can't really say that, but there's an arrow. Okay, so the reading is officially started. All right. Unscrew that smile, light beer, and dangle me. Spork me even while no-no leaks from the seams, leaks from all along to everything, Pelham said. So said that man lacks an art from slime, the flax-hair carpet that matches my beloved in the head and came by someone else. Form match, man to hand, finger fighting, just grab her like a bowling ball, and by speakeasy, I imagine 3 shadows converging in on 1 cup, so forth, and I make stakes. Once I'll reach on my beloved, and I'll be long arm, short of leg. No thing makes a late crumb like beer. The neon oh so blue on my teeth, sky to be scooped sunny. Oh, still in one piece. All right. When I was in Germany, I was in former East Germany for about 3 months, and they served beer at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Right? You go down to like a cafeteria, the college cafeteria, and they had beer for free. And you could eat it. You could eat schnitzel and drink beer at breakfast. But this is about a soccer game, and the beer. Well, we're getting to the point. The point is, the beer at soccer games is €2 for 2 cups. All right, and the cups are like that big. And I mean, that's less than $3 to double fist, which is not bad. The consequence is that everyone is totally smashed. And, things get thrown and there's violence. So this is the Order of the Golden Fleece meets the Order of the Beery Swine. The Order of the Golden Fleece was a kingly, a knightly order. And the Order of the Beery Swine is people at the game. We're drinking, rolling on a wave of chants on game day, sitting stewed in the shadow of a statuary lord's horse salute. Here is Saxony's new war song. Dinamo, ole, ole, ole. Dinamo, ole, ole, ole. Though the soccer isn't what it used to be, there's plenty of Pilsner running through the streets, and that's victory enough. Sung through shouts in smeared German, wanting one of their own players out, out. Hell, you can't lie to us, Elector of Saxony. Your appetites made most of the children from here to Prussia look noble in your stocky way. Some of them could bend horseshoes bare-handed. You were Augustus Electricus, raising a lightning bolt in place of that cold saber the sculptor put in your hand, and your monument should be by the field, hurling an extra cup of brewer's gold down at Ludwig or David for missing a penalty. For the last poem, you guys get a choice. Another love poem or a non-love poem?
I would say a love poem.
Love poem.
Is it personal?
No, it's not. It's not.
No.
Okay. All right. Looks like most people support non. All right, that's fine. It's fine too. All right. Wandering Salzburger. As we all know, Mozart was from the small Austrian town of Salzburg, where they still make something called Mozart balls, which are 2 kinds of marzipan on the inside of a dark chocolate cover, shell, and it's really good. And the recipe is proprietary to companies in Austria. This has nothing to do with those. It does have to do with Mozart. But come on, you guys, good stuff here. Go get some Mozart balls. Wandering Salzburg. Mozart is the original of everything else. The denim, the ochre paint, machined watch gears, reeded edges of coins, so even the blind can know the bottomless grace of the alcoholic's daughter, who looks up and up, quilts of rain coming off the red land, down the cuneiform voices of birds, down the pages of equations that gave the apple of gravitation its shape. She loves her fingers just like the Jew of Forburg, who got sick from the dust of the lenses he ground. She wears misdirection. We share intrusive feet, ragged in the backdrop of the racecourse green, an archway as strong as her foot. The cooking smell a waterlogged sausage gives before it explodes. Signora knew the risk of drinking, how watch gears strip oil and seize, how the denim, the ochre paint on her house that overlooks the red fog, island fog, full of the sea's accordion breath, looks over a desert, green with stars and pieces of lawn that landed there when the AC unit exploded. And that's only taking into account the 3 piano quartets. Thank you very much.